Hello and welcome to another Wilderness Tamed video. Got quite a job on today. I'm in Weardale in County Durham, and I've got a small paddock area, sort of fenced area, tree nursery if you like, that is a bit thick in nettles and thistles, pretty much thistles, but there are some small obstacles in amongst it all. I'll just loosen this off and I shall aim you down. Lots of trees to mow around, and some very small hollies, if you can see that down there, and the nets. I've got a nice audience of young lambs sort of gather around to see what I'm doing. I'm just going to try and set this tripod level. Sorry for shaking you around there, it's not very good camera ship things. So yeah, scything, gonna crack on with it. Enjoy. So what I'm going to start with is working along the fence line and down. We've got some houses overlooking us at the far end there, which I'm not going to show you because that's a privacy issue. But just work along the fence line, get that cleared, and then start working away and clearing the nettles away from where the houses are, because they're concerned about seeds going into their gardens, which is, you know, understandable. Anyway, yeah, here we go. Camera off the tripod and just flipped it. So I've left the blade lying at pretty much the angle I'm working at, so I'm tucking the blade in, or the back of the blade, as close to the fence as possible, and then mowing away just to work along the fence line. And it's a technique you can use for working around obstacles such as fence posts, signpost poles, trees, along dry stone walls. I've done it along the edges of the outside and inside of polytunnels, just to get rid of all the weeds and things. So it's a similar technique, mowing around obstacles or along obstacles like fence lines and things, where you're just putting the back of the tip of the blade against the obstacle and mowing away from it like so. So we've come to a little obstacle, and it's a freshly planted tree in a little cage, rabbit guard. So I'm going to show you, demonstrate how to mow around an obstacle. As I say, it's exactly the same principle as mowing along the fence line, which we've just been doing, in that you keep the back of the tip of the blade up against the obstacle and mow away from it. There'd be a lot of changing light conditions in the camera there, but yeah, again I'll try and aim you down so you can see what I'm aiming for. Is that okay? Little tree in there. I'll just give the blade a quick hone actually. All these thistles are very sturdy stemmed, and because it's sort of, well, we're into August and things are ripening up, stems are getting a bit tougher. I'm using a coarse whetstone to edge the blade. A medium, fine and medium stones probably wouldn't get as good an edge on, as this stuff's dulling the blade pretty quickly because it's so thick. It's sort of, you know, finger thumb thickness stems. They're quite ripe, quite tough. So yeah, it's dulling the blade pretty quick. So I'm going to have to. So I'm using the coarser stone and probably honing a little bit more often than I would be if it was just on the soft grasses like the stuff that the sheep are grazing on the other side of the fence there. So I'm going to come in a bit closer to that tree. Clear some of this overhanging stuff out the way. Find a way into it. I'm already working sideways away from it. I'm not continuing to side towards it because obviously there's a danger involved in that. Turn this stuff back so I can actually get to the base of it. So you can hear and see I'm tapping the back of the blade against the canes and the net there, and scything away from them. Another obstacle here, there's a contra. This will be starting to see it a bit more clearly now. Mowing towards the fence, I've got to reduce the size of swing that I give. There you go. You can see how close in I've got to that. You would struggle to manage that with a strimmer or a brush cutter without damaging the caging, the net. So there you go, a nice demonstration of how to tackle any kind of obstacle. And it's, as I say, it's the same principle whether it's a fence post, a brick pillar, a brick wall, dry stone wall, even a sort of pig wire fence like this. It's a lot easier on post and rail fences, so you've got a nice wooden rail to rub up the back of the scythe against. And I'm just looking at this back edge here. I'm not even sure whether if there's a fence line at all. I think I'm just going to make it up and plough through the nettles and thistles down towards the houses at the bottom end here. Because yeah, I'm not sure that there's an actual fence line there at all. It just seems to disappear under the trees. Nice woodland edge habitat. Anyway, I'll do a bit of that. Do you want to see a bit of that? I'll show you a bit of that if you want. Talk about another one of the advantages of using a scythe over a strimmer or brush cutter. I mean, obviously a strimmer with a plastic cord wouldn't cope with these nettles and thistles. You'd be losing more cord than you were using. But a brush cutter with the metal blades would. However, the blades on a brush cutter, well, they're contained within the plastic guard around the end of the shaft, and they're only what 10 centimeters, 15 centimeters sort of wide, deep, long, whatever. So it's a really reduced sort of cutting area, whereas with this blade that I've got on the snath at the minute is a 75cm blade, I can take that whole 75cm in and cut to that depth. Because of the nature of the stems, you can't do that so much with grass. It's difficult, depending on the type of grass. But yeah, so I can take out way more vegetation in one sweep than a brush cutter could. So there's another advantage. The majority of scythe blades are longer and can cut more depth than any brush cutter can. And so I know the scythe is only cutting in one direction, whereas a brush cutter can cut back and forth. But also a brush cutter, the pole, the sort of the shaft is much shorter than this size 4 snath, which is my go-to snath length. So I have a much greater reach. I can mow, when I really get into it, I can mow close to 3 metre swath or width of cut, which again you can't, unless you're running back and forwards with a brush cutter, you can't do that. Advantage number 386 of a scythe over a strimmer. That's the whole perimeter of this area done in a fairly short space of time. In fact, why don't I? Oh, I can't check my watch because it's on that. In less than an hour, it's taken. Okay, to get around the whole plot, which I guess is, well, I can kind of work it out. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, about 26 meters long. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, let's say 20. So 20, what did I say, 26 by 20. That's slightly more than half an acre. And I know from past experience, in order for me to do a half an acre of just meadow, it's a morning's work. But this is full of trees, which adds an extra interesting element to the whole proceedings. Yeah, I'll give you some shots of some of the stuff I'm doing. The problem with going around the fence the way I've done it, which I mean is nice that I've cleared the fence line and the wall, but it means I've mounded up all that cut stuff on top of stuff that I've now got to cut, which adds quite a bit of bulk to what I'm shifting. If I'd brought a rake, I mean I can use the scythe to rake it off, but I go around the whole lot and rake that off back into this mown swath. But yeah, I might as well just go along, now go the opposite way around the perimeter and try and shift everything into the swath, back it up against the fence really, but at least it'll be loose and cut. So what fun. I shall do that now. There you are. So I've done the sort of double perimeter chop, where I've got everything piled onto the windrow from the first run around the perimeter wall, the fence, and now I'm free to just mow away at what remains. But I've gone round about 6 trees, varying from planted in little tiny rabbit nets, rabbit guards, to full-on timber framed post and rail enclosures. So yeah, it's been quite quite the session, quite the lap around there. So the next lot should be a bit easier, I hope. That's that. All done and dusted. Alright for a morning's work. Right, part of a morning's work. So 3.5 hours more or less. Más o menos. All in all, pretty good. I'll give you a quick pan and show you the chaos. That's quite enough for that. But aye, all good. Job done. Hope you've enjoyed that. Pop back and see me in the next one. If you want to know when it happens, click subscribe and tap the bell icon and you'll get a ping. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Take care.